How's it going, everybody? We are live. I took a day off Saturday just to kind of keep my sanity. I've been doing a lot of other work in addition to this. And, I find it fun. But obviously, if you're streaming all the time, if you're streaming with friends all the time, doing other stuff, it can get a little exhausting. But I do want to thank the people who have been welcoming me back. I took a 5-month break. I think I originally said I wanted to maybe give up on the channel, but I didn't really know that the whole coronavirus epidemic was going to happen. So, forgive me for that. But yeah, so with the channel, the weird thing, and it's not abnormal for this to happen for a lot of channels. Like if you take a really long break and then you come back, you do lose subscribers, and a lot of that is just because people they naturally lose interest in your channel, and it's exacerbated if you take a long break. So if you come back and you're basically when you make content, you're reminding those people, "Hey, I'm still subscribed to a channel that hasn't been making content for 5 months." So that's it's pretty normal for people to unsub. And also YouTube naturally they unsub people for whatever weird reason. Could be for I don't know, fake accounts, spam accounts, they think. We got someone in here. We got Go Oilers. Holy moly. I'm so glad you're back, Void. Thank you so much. Yeah, I committed pretty much channel seppuku back in January. Again, didn't really have the foresight for the whole coronavirus thing coming up. So, when there's not really a lot to do, this is a nice thing. And I don't exactly know what I'm going to do, but I do like the live stream format. I do like just relaxing and talking about stuff. It's a lot less pressure. I don't have to make really precise content. I don't have to go through all the audio and edit everything because I make mistakes. I mean, normal people make mistakes when they talk. Like normal people stutter. Hello there. It's nice to have you back. Thank you so much. Dr. Pure One. What's up, bro? What's up, Oblivion Guard? The Ruby Skeleton. Hello, are you going to ever do deck techs again? I might. That's sort of what I'm trying to ease myself into that because it is a routine that you have to get into when you don't do like live streams are so much easier, guys. So much easier. It's as simple as pressing a button and then talking to people and then reading the chat or looking at a web page like I'm going to do here today. But yeah. Dr. Pure One, so did you see the new shrines? That's what we're going to get into here today. I was so sad about the seppuku. I was telling my girlfriend about it, and she was like, "You mean the chill commander dude?" Uh, I guess you love my top tens. I'm gonna guess that's what you meant. But yeah, a lot of people tell me they like my voice. It's pretty calm and relaxing. I think when I first started out YouTube, I was very monotone. I still am, but I'm able to vary my voice now. Because I guess it like when you start out and you don't know exactly what you're going to do and you don't really feel that confident, you tend to show it like with your voice. People tend to recognize, well, you're nervous. And I think the way that I was nervous was I just kind of I kept really low and I didn't want people to know the real me, so I kept, I was very monotone and boring. But my voice I think is a little bit more dynamic now. Awesome. Glad to have you back. Missed you while you were gone. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. LOL, shave in the morning to the top 10. Sorry for the overshare, guys. Oh, good. So I guess we should just get on into it. We're about 5 minutes into the stream, and we got, 10 people, 10 to 12 people. So what we're looking at today, let me full screen this. We have the spoilers for Core 2021. Now we have Saturday spoilers. Um, I don't think we had too many yesterday, but we did miss some stuff. And I'm not doing spoiler videos every single day, just ones where I feel like we've gathered enough of them. So we already talked about. I do remember leaving off on Speaker of the Heavens, the little human cleric, where if you gain life, you can make a 4/4 angel. But we also got this card here, Animal Sanctuary, which is it's a cool land and it's awesome for tribal because uh well, specific tribal, if you have a bird, cat, dog, goat, ox, or snake deck, you have a land that can just put a +1/+1 counter on it. I mean, for 2 mana, I guess so if your deck needs it. It's not super great, but here we have Colossal Dreadmaw because if you wanted the 1 millionth version of that card, here you go. This is a pretty cool card here. Hooded Blightfang, 3 mana black snake with Death Touch. Whenever a creature you control with Death Touch attacks, each opponent loses a life and you gain a life. Whenever a creature you control with Death Touch deals damage to a planeswalker, destroy that planeswalker. Now, at first glance, we have some tribal in here, so it's okay, well, what is this going to do with snakes? It's actually Death Touch tribal, which shouldn't be too hard for snake tribal. I mean, a lot of snakes have Death Touch, sort of an acknowledgement that, they have a venomous bite. But that was June 12th. So that was what, Friday or Saturday? We on June 13th, which yeah, this is Saturday or Sunday. Gosh, I'm losing track of the days. Scavenging Ooze. Exile target card from a graveyard. This is a reprint of a very good green card in Commander. I actually think it's pretty underrated. Whenever you have any kind of graveyard hate, especially one where you could also benefit from getting a larger creature if you have a deck that's focused on counters, Scavenging Ooze is perfect for that as well. Very solid card. Can't recommend it enough. And Palladium Mirror is just, it's a solid soul ring on a creature, if that's what you really want. Mostly, I see it in colorless decks because in colorless, you need the ramp more than anything. But June 14th, and then after these cards, I'm going to go take another look at the chat. We get another Rada. This is Heart of Keld, so 3 mana Rada. Legendary Elf Warrior. Probably would help if I made the picture a little larger so everyone can see it. You may look at the top card of your library anytime, and you may play lands from the top of your library, but you can pay 6 mana. Rada gets +X until end of turn, where X is the number of lands you control. I'm not too crazy on this. I mean, First Strike is nice. Wait, I don't even think she has any other abilities. So where did I get the First Strike from? No, she just gets +X. So yeah, that's not as good as I thought it was going to be. I mean, even with First Strike, that wouldn't be that great. But not super great as a commander option in my opinion. Probably better as one of the 99. And then we get this awesome card. Now, this card was actually really cool. Sublime Epiphany. You get all of these modes. You get 5 different modes. 6 mana blue instant. You can choose one or more. So it's not just going to force you to choose only one or two. You can choose as many as you want, as few as you want. You don't need the legal targets either. And it's not like, what's that Gruul card where you need all the targets? You can just choose one of these if you want to. So the different modes are, the first one is counter target spell, which is, always nice and blue. You can counter a target activated or triggered ability. You can return a target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. You can create a token that's a copy of target creature you control, or you can have target player draw a card. That is just freaking sweet. Automatically going to be, one of the better blue cards in Commander. I mean, as far as casual Commander goes, like the modes, different options, that's always great in Commander. And we get a reprint of Kite Sail Freebooter. That was pretty much it for June 14th, though. Let's take a look at the chat. So now I'm thinking about making a Shrine Gate deck. We're going to talk about that in a second. Gate decks are fun. They catch people off guard. Yeah, I've never played one or against one. So is that the Guild Gates? Like where you try to get all 10 and you get Maze's End? Is that the deck you guys are talking about? Yeah, that sometimes comes out of nowhere. But I think there's some pretty good decks. Yeah, some pretty good decks where, you focus it on just tutoring a bunch of lands. And I mean, there's the obvious strategies with lands, like if you go with Dark Depths. I'm not the biggest fan of that, though, because there are so many decks that can deal with Dark Depths. They can deal with that combo. Like, it's not the hardest thing in the world to stop a gigantic indestructible creature if you have good exiling removal or sacrifice removal. So, we get some pretty interesting cards here on the 15th, which is today. We get this card, 9 Lives. Awesome flavor, and it makes perfect sense on a white enchantment. It has hexproof. If a source would deal damage to you, prevent that damage and put an incarnation counter on 9 lives. When there are 9 or more incarnation counters on 9 lives, exile it. When 9 lives leaves the battlefield, you lose the game. Nothing I would say is super useful in Commander. I mean, if you're playing a Pillow Fort deck, maybe. But I think it's incredibly risky. It has hexproof, but it's not indestructible. All it would really take is a board wipe that can destroy all enchantments. And suddenly you've lost the game. But it might be extra little bit of flavor if you want to go for it. I'm not against flavor cards. We get this card, Shacklegeist. And then I'm going to go over all the shrines. Just a solid, I guess, a creature for limited if you're looking for some decent flyers. But really, some Spirit Tribal here. Nothing super crazy. Flying 2/2 can block only creatures with flying. You can tap 2 untapped spirits you control and tap a target creature you don't control. So, I mean, it does have Spirit Tribal flavor there, but nothing super exciting. So, the first Sanctum we have here is Sanctum of Fruitful Harvest. 3 mana green, legendary enchantment Shrine. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, add X mana of any one color, where X is the number of shrines you control. So it's kind of like a Carpet of Flowers. Not nearly as good, but you get the idea. It's supposed to add mana equal to a certain number of whatever. And this is also, again, I love the what is it called? The Thesaurus, where you have a reference to these other shrine cards. So you get the ones from the Kamigawa block. And they also got reprinted in Eternal Masters too. The next one is Sanctum of Shattered Heights. 3 mana in red. Same thing as before, legendary enchantment Shrine. You can pay 1 mana, discard a land card or a shrine card. Sanctum of Shattered Heights deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker, where X is the number of shrines you control. So, it's an ability that you can have. I don't really think this one is nearly as good as the red one from before. You didn't have to pay any mana, and I think it dealt damage on its own. Sanctum of Stone Fangs. This is the 2 mana black one. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, each opponent loses X life, and you gain X life, where X is the number of shrines you control. So it's a pretty cheap shrine compared to the 4 mana black one from before. That one is actually about discarding cards, though, which I think might be a little bit more powerful. Sanctum of Calm Waters is a 4 mana blue one. And like the one before, this has to do with card draw. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, you may draw X cards, where X is the number of shrines you control. If you do discard a card, this is also pretty different because it's at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase. So it is a different trigger from before, with the other shrines where that was at the beginning of your upkeep. So it's a little weird for me. I would prefer it to just be an upkeep trigger. There's that card. What is it called? Paradox Haze, where you get another upkeep. And the shrines are so deadly with that Paradox Haze card. Sanctum of Tranquil Light. 1 mana, a 1 mana shrine. So it's pretty easy to get this one out there. You can pay 5 mana and a white to tap a target creature. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each shrine you control. That's actually really good. If all you have to do is just pay a white mana if you have 5 shrines, and you can tap a creature, yeah, you can get yourself out of certain situations. I'm going to talk about Sanctum of All, and then we're going to take another look at the chat. Take a little break after this. Sanctum of All, 5 mana, 1 of each color. This card is so cool, and really makes you wish it was a creature. Obviously, for casual players, you can just make a commander deck out of really whatever you want. But this has commander written all over it. So it's another legendary enchantment shrine. This time it's a 5-color one. So if you want to make those 5-color decks, you have the ultimate one. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may search your library and or graveyard for a shrine card and put it onto the battlefield. If you search your library this way, shuffle it. If an ability of another shrine you control triggers while you control 6 or more shrines, that ability triggers in additional time. Now, it's going to be a lot harder to get all of these shrines out there. They are legendary, so you can't have duplicates. However, if you have a deck that's all about tutoring, you should be able to get them out there pretty quickly. But again, in total, including this, there are only, 11 shrines? So it's probably going to be a lot harder than people think to get 6 out there without people really putting up much of a fight. But here we have the card Enduring Ideal down here, which is the epic one. So you can just keep searching your library for an enchantment. It's a little bit different, though, because it's just from your library. It's not from your graveyard. So you could run out of cards and you'd probably be screwed. So let me take a look at the StreamYard just to see what people are saying. Nine Lives with the Stifle effect works well. I wish 9 Lives was slightly better. The Leafs play clause is too harsh. Yeah, that blue instant is pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. Really surprised to see shrines again. Yeah, this might mean that we're actually heading back to Kamigawa. Because as you know, that's when we had the shrines from before. I'm not the biggest fan, though, of returning to Plains. Just because it seems so watered down going back to Ravnica for the 3rd time, going back to Zendikar for the 3rd time. And it just, I don't know. When the plane used to have so many good abilities, you had so many unique keywords, and then it's like you go that direction again, because obviously you have to mention the Dimir again, to mention the Golgari again. If you're going back to Ravnica, you're bringing all of that back. So the abilities are going to be somewhat related to the better ones from before, but they're going to be, again, a little watered down. The new shrines are a lot more competitive than the older ones with the CMC. Yeah, definitely the white and the black one being only 1 and 2 mana. A little bit more competitive. But again, like I said before, a lot of these triggers are at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase. So with the card Paradox Haze, that was something I used in Commander. If you do want to play with the shrines in Commander, I highly recommend you go for an enchantment theme. That way you can take advantage of, other enchantments, obviously, but you have cards like Paradox Haze, which just really abuse that, as well as the Epic I just mentioned. Okay, so what do you think the best commander is for making a shrine deck? Um, it's really difficult to say because we don't have any like 5-color enchantment commanders, but the one I remember playing with was Okagachi, and the reason why was because it's a very solid defensive commander, and you'll find that most enchantments tend to lean on the defensive side. So I don't think I really saw that out of any other 5-color commander, the defensive ability. So a Sisei Shrine Commander deck, Captain Sisei. Um, yeah, they're legendaries, so you should be able to search them up pretty easily if that's the way you want to go. I mentioned Okagachi because it's easy to throw in a lot of enchantments that have defensive abilities. You know, you can play Propaganda, Ghostly Prison. What's the card I'm thinking of? 4 mana blue enchantment, and your opponents have to pay a mana for each basic land you control. That card is amazing. There's so many good defensive enchantments, and that's the only reason why I would lean. All right, I'm sorry about that. My internet's pretty crappy. So let me share my screen again and get back to where we were. All right. All right, so at least it kept the comment up. Sisei Shrine Commander deck. So that's what we were talking about before. Yeah, Sisei herself tutors for the shrines. Yeah, Paradox Haze. I believe it's that blue enchantment that you get extra. You get an additional upkeep. Yeah, very easy to tutor in black and white for enchantments. That's the card. Collective Restraint is a 4 mana blue enchantment where your opponent has to pay 1 mana for each land type among your basic lands. So if you're playing a 5-color deck, chances are you have access to one of every basic land. Yeah, Pillar Fort Shrine is probably the way to go, if I'm being perfectly honest. Yeah, we just cut out there for a second. Uh, we should be back here. I believe we are. Yeah, Enchantress, that's exactly what you want to do. Again, it's mostly going to be an enchantment deck, so you're going to have the Enchantresses just to give you that extra card draw anyway. I mean, that's all it really is an enchantment deck that has what now 11 shrines. All right, so let's get back into the spoilers because I think we have a couple more cards. Just a couple more. And then I'm going to go take a look at the stocks, and then we'll probably just wrap up the stream after that. We'll get a new Baron, Tolarian Archmage, or Archmage, whatever people want to say. Baron was from, I think, Urza Saga. Urza something. He's from the Urza's block, but he's a really old card. Legendary creature, human wizard for 3 mana in blue. When he enters the battlefield, return up to one other target creature or planeswalker to its owner's hand. At the beginning of your end step, if a permanent was put into your hand from the battlefield this turn, draw a card. Yeah, it's solid, I guess. But should you really feel tempted to use the ability on something you own? Probably not. If all you get is just a card draw, it's not really worth doing that. I guess it depends on the card you're returning to your hand. If it has a really good trigger on cast or ETB, maybe. But it's really just what's the card? Mana War. 3 mana creature that enters the battlefield and you can bounce another creature. I guess you can it has the benefit of bouncing a planeswalker, but being able to replay planeswalkers I think is pretty good, and it doesn't really make Baron that great. I don't know. Not super impressive, and there are way better wizards than that. We have a Ghostly Pilferer. Have I seen this card before? I think this is a new one. Whenever Ghostly Pilferer becomes untapped, you may pay 2 mana. If you do, draw a card. Whenever an opponent casts a spell from anywhere other than their hand, you draw a card. You can discard a card. Ghostly Pilferer can't be blocked this turn. That's actually not half bad. If you like spirits, it's a cheap creature. Offers you some situational card draw, yes, but it's still added card draw. You can pay 2 mana after you, I guess, attack with it. If it untaps. So you get to draw a card that way. But yeah, that second ability, whenever an opponent casts a spell from anywhere other than their hand, you get to draw a card. That's really what I'm looking at here. That's pretty solid. Because obviously there's a lot of decks that do that. Awesome. Sanctuary Cycle from Apocalypse. I think so. What am I thinking about? Let me just look that up. Oh, yeah. Yeah, these are very obscure cards, but I don't think it was quite as flavorful as the whole shrine thing. Because at least the shrines they have, they pretty much interact with each other, right? You get certain abilities depending on how many shrines you have, or the strength of those abilities. Baron could see play in Uro bounce decks. Yeah, there's some decent bounce strategies. I mean, obviously, you can abuse any ETB. If you get like infinite mana and Deadeye Navigator stuff. So I'm probably going to wrap it up here, but I want to go over MTGStocks just because it's interesting to me. Yeah, I got it full screen. Awesome. So we do have some stuff here that changed since yesterday, but it's kind of all over the place. I like since last week a lot better because you get a better idea of, what's really changing. It's not just something that randomly spiked, although that's still possible. We still have Boggart Harbinger, so Goblin Tribal, I guess. Army of Allah. This is something I have been hearing about. I don't really know exactly why, but some of these cards are going up because there's more attention being drawn to them. If you're not aware, Magic the Gathering now, certain cards that are deemed to be racist are pretty much being erased. And a lot of these cards are on the reserve list, so Army of Allah. I don't see how that's racist though, but I don't know. Reparations. I hope that's not one. It went up from like $2 to $20. This is a card I've been telling people about because it's actually not half bad in Commander. But it's always something. You don't know exactly what's going to offend people. So, Nameless Race, that might be one. I don't exactly know why either, but I guess the mention of race in some way. Um, Again, Hungry Lynx. This is a card that pretty much doubled in price because of the whole cat tribal thing. Goblin tribal with Goblin Recruiter. So that's close to being $5 now. Exploration. It's a $90 card. It's not on the reserve list. Obviously, we've seen newer versions of it. That card went up about $40 since last week. And the Coca Show price increase, I think, is tapering off quite a bit. It was closer to 30. Now you see it going down just a little bit. But anyway, guys, I think I'm probably going to wrap it up there. Yeah, the PC police. Here's the thing. If something's actually racist, I'm all for, doing away with it. But there's some instances where it's just okay. You're reaching, you're looking for something. I don't really see how those cards in particular. Again, I don't know. Maybe it's not those. Maybe they spiked for a completely different reason. But if people are buying them because they're the cards that are being pretty much erased, I don't know. But anyway, you all have a wonderful day here. Void signing off. See you all next time.